The life of addiction is a narcissistic lifestyle. When a narcissist gets into a relationship, they get into the relationship with only the mind of getting without giving. They take and take and take without giving. Addiction is the epitome of narcissism. An addict will get into relationships that do not serve him at all. All the relationships that a narcissist or an addict gets into are relationships built to take and never give. This is why addicts and narcissists, because for me, addiction and narcissism are synonyms. As someone who has been into addiction and out of it, I know that there is no difference between someone who is addicted and someone who is just purely narcissistic, because they think the same way. They get into relationships to get things out of those relationships and never to give back. But at the same time, they are in a narcissistic relationship with the drugs that they use. But with the drugs, it is the other way around. At first, the drug is so good and it balances out your life quite well. And with time, you realize that the drug is now taking from you. It's taking away your peace of mind. It's taking away all the personal relationships that you had built for years. It is taking away the trust that people had in you. It is taking away your personality. It is eroding your personality day by day. And this mirrors into the addict's life. The addict also takes away from the relationships that he or she has. So the thing that happens is that while the drug is taking away from the addict is taking away from the society. But also, there is another part of the equation that has not been factored in. The addict also becomes codependent with people who also takes away from the addict. Because your circle is full of addicts, therefore, you become devoid of any affection and any love. Because your circle is full of narcissism, people who have come to take without giving. So sometimes that is why addiction is the most dangerous thing in the world. It makes you devoid of any affection and any love that you can foster. You can never foster deep relationships while being addicted to drugs. You can never be truly joyful and happy while being addicted to drugs. Why can't you be joyful and happy while being addicted to drugs? Because once a person cannot build good and strong personal relationships with others, they cannot truly be happy. We have been created to be in close proximity, physically, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, with other human beings. But if this aspect of our being has been cancelled by our addiction, then we have cut ourselves off from the possibility of ever experiencing joy in our lives. This I say today because I feel that the world needs to hear more about what actually happens in an addict's life. Addiction does not choose who it picks. Addiction can pick the best of the best without a doubt. Addiction can ruin a career that has been built for decades. Addiction can pull down a family that people have invested in for decades and even centuries. Because most families are generational, because you don't end the line of your family, you continue the line of your family when you bear children. But when one aspect of the generation has been done away with, it's like a gangrenous limb that has to be cut off. Life is quite the roller coaster for the addict, because the addict cannot foster for personal relationships. The addict is left into an abyss, devoid of emotion, devoid of love, devoid of care. And once you get into this black hole, it takes a force greater than everything else to pull you out. Your willpower or bootstrapping cannot do the thing. You have to petition somewhere else. In my next episode, I will tell you where you have to petition. But for today, realize that addict that you have in your life is in fact a narcissist. And while they are being a narcissist, they are also being abused by other narcissists. Drugs are narcissistic. Drugs themselves are entities, in my opinion. I don't just think that there is no principality behind drugs. I know and I believe and I have experienced that there is truly a principality behind drugs, and drugs actually have a personality. And while these drugs have a personality, they then affect you. It's like you're dealing with a spirit. And in the famous words of Derek Prince, spirits are just people without bodies. So when an addict is getting into these relationships with drugs, they're getting into relationship with spirits. Spirits that these addicts do not know and have not signed up for. But the true reality is that the moment you put in a drug into your system, you have intertwined your spirit and your soul with another spirit. And this other spirit has the power to control your life, to control your mind. And that is the narcissistic part of drugs that I'm talking about. And while you used to be a very selfless person before you started abusing drugs, this narcissistic spirit or principality behind drugs will then erode your personality and make you like itself. That is my experience with drugs, because drugs ain't no joke. And I think more families should be open to the idea of therapy. More families should be open to the idea of fighting for their loved ones who have been captured and who have these strongholds of addiction and narcissism in their lives. Really, it's just pride. That is the end of my episode for today. Drugs are people. Drugs are spirits. Drugs have principalities behind them. Believe it or not, it is the truth. I have experienced it, and once you are in it, you know it. And I know and I know and I believe that some people who are listening to me in this monologue thing that I'm doing right now and have been through addiction or are through addiction right now understand what I'm trying to put across. Drugs have principalities. Drugs have spirits in them. Drugs have people in them. Yes. Otherwise, have a nice day, and I hope that God blesses you in each and everything that you do. Keep going. Never give up, because life is all about not giving up. Bless you and bless your day. Thank you.